yeah, they were getting about like 10, less than 10 US dollar per lead. And after they tweaked this, I think they were actually seeing about $120 per lead. I don't know how many percent, but it's really a ridiculous spike in terms of the cost per lead. So they came to me and said that, Jason, I really need help. I don't know what happened to this campaign. It was doing well for 2 months, but this month we relaunched it. We had some new tweaks and all that, but eventually the whole thing just went crumble. So what can we do about this? So then we came in. Now, let's put it this way. For this case, okay, this is really something that, like it's a very classical case. This is actually driving people to the landing page. So this is not a lead form kind of per se. So basically for this case, right, so first thing first, this is a company that sells outdoor BBQ equipment in the US, okay? The outdoor BBQ equipment is really a thing, especially now we're entering the summer and all that, right? They really have a lot of activities of selling these things. So yeah, so that's what happened. But the problem here is that they're having here is the cost per lead for the landing page spiked by over 1,000% out of sudden. So when we dive in, okay, all metrics remain identical, meaning, like from the previous weeks, the CTR, CPM, CPC, and everything was the same, in quite identical, meaning from this angle, what we can actually derive from here, if your CTR and CPM and everything remains the same, that means, okay, the campaign is actually pretty stable, as in like the creative is performing as it should be, as usual, as the previous one. And the CPM that actually usually covers for the objective and the audience targeting, if the CPM is also very identical to previous weeks or months, that means the campaign is in fact in a very stabilized state. But the problem here is you are not getting the lead that you are supposed to get. And the cost per lead went up by, like more than 1,000%. So what really happened? So this is a campaign that we actually had to dive in from various angles. So I even went in to really dissect the entire campaign setup and compare back to back with another. I mean, because what they did was they relaunched the campaign, as in like they duplicate the campaign every month. So as in like they were doing this in May, it was doing well. But because every month it's their policy, they need to duplicate. But having said that, right, in most of the things that we do, if a campaign is already performing, we try to actually make it long-term and evergreen campaign. Meaning we try not to interfere too much on that unless it's really going into the wrong direction. Because as you duplicate, right, you may not get back the CTR and the CPM that you were enjoying in the previous campaign, because essentially you might actually, like dive into the different track, although everything is the same, the audience targeting, the creative and everything is the same, but you may dive into a different direction, which would jeopardize the whole campaign performance. But for this case, it's not the case. CTR, CPM, CPC, everything was really good. It was actually the same. So that's what we actually kind of recorded. So the CTR was last week was 3.01, and the link click was 1.5, and the CPM was about 5, and then event 5.7. So this week, which is the previous week, where they get relief, like the whole thing was effed up. The CTR all was there at about like 2.9, and the link click actually improved even. And the CPM, although slightly increased, but it's really not a very significant bump over here. So from here, in fact, not just all these metrics, right? The entire metric on the front end are like this. Everything is good. So when we are analyzing the campaign, you have to understand that there are metrics for before the click and there are metrics for after the click. Okay, so when we look at the before the click, everything was good, but after the click is where we start seeing some problem coming in. So eventually what was really happening here is, I think we had a lot more content view click in there. So let's say, for example, they were getting, let's say the outbound was 100 and the content view is usually about like 95 kind of thing. But this time around, the link click was 100, but the content view became like about 200 kind of thing. So, but the problem here is, just now we look at the e-commerce case, right? When the content view is more, it's a good thing, right? Meaning people start browsing, but this is not. This is a lead gen landing page. We're not supposed to get that many content view. Then only we dive into the next step and look at the landing page itself. Then we realize this is the problem. Because the whole direction that we were setting for this campaign was, we rule out the possibility of having the ad as the problem, like having any problem at the ad level, because all the numbers was really doing good and all that. So we rule out the possibility of ad problem over here. So we started to look at after the click. So eventually, turned out the critical changes was, okay, Previous month, as in like the week before, they were promoting single item, meaning when they click, they bring people to the landing, and that landing is really about that product. And there is an inquiry form, they can actually fill it and start, like talking to the sales reps and all that. But this month, because they were trying to push multiple items at one time, so they created a landing with multiple items. So that's the problem, okay? Because eventually, I think what happened was there is a disconnection in terms of the kind of like the customer journey, because they were presented one item, but when it comes to the landing itself, they start seeing like so many items, they kind of lost themselves. So when they started to browse themselves and started to figure out the differences between one to another, I'm not saying that comparison is not good, but if your comparison, okay, is confusing your audience, that become a friction that may kill the whole so-called the purchase intent. So it's really something that we have to look into. So for this case, they changed multiple product and there are multiple steps that need to go down the road to actually make an inquiry. That's the reason why the inquiry dropped significantly for this case. So what we did was, we understand that we cannot change the landing because really the client needs to promote multiple items at one go, but we kind of tweak. I think we added a WhatsApp button at the bottom right to give people the option to talk to them and or via WhatsApp. And we added a kind of like a pop-up to let people kind of like realize that, look, if you need help, need help comparing which model is suitable for you, talk to us. So we kind of give people multiple prompt about like talk to us kind of thing. And we did not reach back below $10 per lead. Okay, but I think we reached back about $20 over per lead. At least it was still, like acceptable. So this is really something this is a very interesting case study where when you are driving an audience to a landing page that hoping that they will sign up as a lead, in fact, the whole journey can become a lot more different. Like I wanted to add in a different case study that I recently kind of helped my client achieve success, which is a developer client. So they wanted to drive people to landing page because eventually you get higher quality. But the problem here is people don't fill out form for that for that state that we're working on. So what we did was we actually tested several different call to action methods, but what really worked for them was the WhatsApp. So you really need to understand what kind of lead submission format is more comfortable for the audience that you're targeting. And it actually sometimes requires several tests until you find a more suitable one. But remember, there are a lot of ways to generate leads, to capture your audience as a lead. Do not rule this campaign as a failure, okay? Just because it did not work on one lead gen method. You just have to test. That's why I say, when it comes to running ads on Facebook, the ad only play about 50% of the role. Yes, it may be the ad that is affecting the failure of the campaign, but the entire journey, when you look at it, there are many, many things that you can actually try to fix and improve the campaign performance. So I just want to let you know that really it's about knowing what are the data or what are the metrics that you should be monitoring to help you make the right decision for that case. So yeah, as usual, if you're running lead gen and you're having some fluctuation in terms of cost per lead, you're not sure what's happening, especially if you're doing a lead gen landing page. That even has a lot more different hypothesis that we can build, a lot more angles that we can actually look into. So if you need help, scan this QR code, let me review your campaign and build your plan. So the whole idea here is actually very simple. First thing first, we would build a dashboard, calling all the important metrics that matters to your business and put them in sequence. We call that the dashboard. So that dashboard is built in your ads manager so that you can always come back and use the dashboard to monitor your campaign. And after that, once we have the dashboard, we analyze. So as I analyze, I'll teach you how to analyze. And as we analyze and equip you with the knowledge to learn how to analyze, we draw hypotheses already from the data and metrics. And eventually, towards the end of it, we build a plan. As in, I'm going to give you, let's say these are the 3 things that you can try. Week 1, we tried this. Week 2, we tried this. Week 3, we tried this. And week 4, if you can't see shit, come back to me again. Yes, sometimes put it this way, I'm not the almighty. I do not have answer for everything. But what I do here is I work with you to find the answer for your campaign. So we may have to go through several rounds of investigation and tests until we reach a stable campaign. I have to say that, yes, it's very rare that we actually achieve success at one this is a myth. A snap of finger is a myth. I'm not the almighty. No, I need to go through this with you. But the problem here is, instead of you trying to figure out yourself, when we do this using a guided framework, which is a data-driven framework, we mastered the skill and we know how to fix the problem and we really fix it. That's really what we want to do, right? And we want to learn how to do that. So that's what you want to do. Scan this QR code and I look forward to work with you.